Hi, this is Tina Monk with Natural Suds and More, and this is the making of my coconut milk peppermint mocha soap. I always prepare my coconut milk in advance. I make it myself with coconut flakes, and I freeze it 24 hours in advance to add it to my lye. And you can see I have an ice bath underneath it, and I like to keep my milk really cold. I don't like to get it hot and let it scorch, which will turn it orange and brown and you get a funky smell. I know some soapers like to do that with their milks and like to do them hot process, but I do mine very cold. And all I do is just add the lye slowly, a little bit at a time, and keep stirring, and this can take several minutes. You just need to keep track of your temperature to make sure it's not getting too close to 80 degrees. You just keep adding it, keep stirring it slowly. And I will even have some extra ice waiting just in case it gets down to the point where there's still some lye to add, but there's no frozen milk left and the ice underneath has melted. So I always have some waiting just in case I need to add more ice. And all of my oils are already melted in the crock pot, and they are about 90 degrees. And I had to wait a while for the oil temperature to drop, so the coconut milk and lye solution sat for a while, and some of the fat in the coconut milk started to saponify, so you can see it got kind of chunky there, but it's completely fine. And I always stir a little bit just to get the saponification started before I stick the stick blender in. And anytime I put the stick blender in, I tap it to release the trapped air so the air doesn't get whipped into the soap. If you do get air whipped into your soap, it's completely fine, but you'll see a bunch of whitish spots throughout your soap when you cut it. So if you want to avoid the white spots, you just burp your stick blender. And this soap the batter is so cold that I don't have to worry about it getting too thick on me. This stays thin throughout the whole process. I just checked the trace, and then I put the stick blender in again, so I had to burp it again. And I have 2 containers right there with the spouts waiting. I already have coffee, a little bit of cocoa powder for coloring, and the coffee grounds. Just a little bit of the coffee grounds in there. And I also use chocolate fragrance and cappuccino fragrance. I don't use very many coffee grounds because they can get scratchy. So I do like the exfoliation, but too many, it gets too scratchy. And this soap smells amazing, and it sells very well for me. It's usually one that I do around Christmas time, but I do, if somebody wants it, I will make it throughout the year too. Alright, and then I'm getting ready to add the peppermint essential oil there. And then I just make sure that the essential oil is incorporated very well throughout the whole batter. And then I'm just blending the other part up to the side there. And I do a double batch pretty much every time I make soap, so I have one container for each mold. And I do this soap that way, so that way I make sure I have about the same amount of the brown in each mold. I don't know if you could see right there, but I'm wearing a whole face shield. And I do that a lot more when the soap is a lot thinner, just in case of any spatter. If I wear goggles, sometimes I've had spatter hit my cheeks, so I always like to use a face shield. That way I make sure that my face is covered and I don't have to worry, because I'm very sensitive to the lye. And this is just me pouring it in. When I do in double batches, I just eyeball it. Try not to be too exact. I'm not too worried about it, and like how much goes in each mold. But I've done this so much that you can just pretty much tell. And I start with the base, and then I will just pour the brown part in.
Normally I don't do it like this, but I'm trying to have the camera in there.
You know, and I mentioned that I make my own coconut milk, and I make all my own milks for my soaps. And one, because I like to know exactly what's going in my soaps, but it's very, very easy. Just just a few extra steps. But I buy Radiant Life coconut chips. They're dehydrated, and all I have to do is take about 2 cups of the flakes, and then I will heat up about 4 cups of distilled water. I only use distilled water for my soaps, but I don't get the water to boiling or anything, but it is very hot. And then I just add the water to the flakes, and I let the flakes soak. And depending on how hot your water is, you could soak them for a half an hour, or they could soak for a few hours. Doesn't matter. But the hotter it is, the less time you'll have to soak them. But then all you got to do is put it in the blender, blend it up for a couple minutes, and then you strain out the pulp. And you can use a nut bag, or you can use a fine mesh strainer, whatever works for you. And then you have pulp, and you have your coconut milk. And then I just freeze the milk in ice cube trays and the day before, and then I make the soap. I tried, just to experiment, I tried a coconut milk in a can to make soap, and it was horrible. There was the guar gum in it thickened it, and I couldn't even get the lye dissolved into it. It was chunky. I had to strain out the lye, and it was just a total mess. So, but I wanted to show that so that way I could tell people not to do this, and this is why I make my own milks. And I make my own almond milks too. I've done almond milk soaps. But if you do almond milk, you have to soak your almonds for 2 days. And what that does is it releases the phytic acid that's in the almonds. So, and if you're going to drink the almond milks, you need to soak them. Soak the almonds. As the phytic acid in the almonds, it's in grains and nuts and beans. But it actually blocks absorption. So when you are eating it, it can bind to like other minerals in your body, and you will not absorb them. So yeah, it's very good to make sure that your grains and beans and nuts are sprouted, so you don't have to worry about the phytic acid blocking absorption of minerals. But when you're making the almond milk, soaking it for 2 days releases the phytic acid, and it also softens the almonds up so that you don't have to worry. It's much easier to make the milk. But then you basically just do it. You pour the water out that you'd soaked them in for 2 days, because it gets nasty. You can see it gets cloudy, and it's gross. So you pour that water out, and then you add more water in, and then you blend, and then you strain out the almond pulp. You can freeze that and use that for soaps too, or drink it. But most of the almond milks that you get in the stores have so many additives, and they're basically only about 2% almonds. So if you make it yourself, it's so much better. Same with coconut milk or hemp milk or goat milk soap. Where I'm at, I can't get fresh goat milk soap, or goat milk, so I always just buy the powdered, and I add water, and then I freeze that. But here I'm just finishing up the pouring. This batter is awesome. It stays so thin the whole time. The camera actually died on me before I got to the swirling part of it, but I just pour the strips of the brown part down each side, and then I swirl it. But here is the hanger swirl. This is a tool that my boyfriend designed and built. He built several of them so that we could sell them too, because these are amazing. And if you do hot process soaps where your soap gets thick, or if you have accelerated trace and you think your design is lost, it's not. You can still use a hanger swirl tool. So it's like however thick it gets, you can still swirl it. So it's a great thing to have. And if you want one, please contact me. We do custom orders. We can make them to fit your mold, whatever size. So, and they're great. They're made of stainless steel, and they have a wood handle. You can contact me at naturalsudsandmore.com. That's the letter N. Or you can email me, naturalsudsandmore@outlook.com. So let me know what size you need, and I'll give you a price, and we can go from there, and you can have this, because it's amazing. And like I said, this cuts off, but I'm just pouring it down so that it doesn't break through the surface. I pour it real lightly on top, and then I use the bamboo skewer and go back and forth, make a design. And these go in the refrigerator right after I'm done, so I do my top and then I spray with 91% rubbing alcohol, and then I put plastic wrap over the top, and then they go in the fridge. So my milk soaps stay cold the entire time, and I never let them get hot so I don't have scorched milk. And there's the finished product. It smells amazing. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you like and share and subscribe for more videos. Thank you so much.